ask you if you could give me some clarity to the expression that's been used for Jesus, where there's the term Jesus Christ or Jesus the Christ. What does that mean?
All it means is there was a time in my life when I changed in the way of the structure of my soul. And every one of you can go through the same process. And what happened was, the time of the change was when I was in my early 30s. I was 31 years of age in the first century. I went into this state of at-one-ment with God that I've been describing to you. And the state of at-one-ment with God is the first time you get what I would call Christed. So the process of being Christed is actually the process of receiving divine love to the point where you now become at one with God. So right at the moment, there are literally billions of spirits who have been Christed. Now, I'm often called Jesus the Christ because I was the first person to receive that blessing, if you like, that process of becoming at one with God. But I'm certainly never going to be the last Christ in that regard, the person who's Christed last. Because the process of being Christed can happen to every single individual on the planet and in the spirit world. It's actually the gift that God has given the entire human race. So if you can think of Christ as the process of receiving divine love to the point of at-one-ment with God. And I never called myself the Christ, but I did call myself the Messiah. And Christ in the Greek language does refer to Messiah in the Hebrew language. And I certainly called myself that, in that I was the first person to receive the Christing, if you like, or to receive divine love to the point of at-one-ment. So therefore, the first person to actually go through the process of being Christed, and therefore, because I could then show others how to do it, the definition of the Messiah was the person who would be the first or the leader of the people to God. And because I was the first, I naturally became that person. But only through my desire. And that doesn't make me a special individual, by the way. What it makes me is only the first of many special individuals. That's all. Just like the first person who created the aeroplane didn't create the best aeroplane, right? They were very instrumental in everyone else creating an aeroplane, but they were special or unique in that place that they were the first, but they weren't the only person. And it's very important that this incorrect thing that most of Christianity has is dispelled. Because in the end, all of us can be Christed. And this is about the burning desire for God. What happened for me is I had a burning desire for God ever since I could remember. I don't know why. The only answer I have myself is that that's a part of my unique soul, just like you have a part of your unique soul. Does that make sense? And every one of you have some kind of unique thing that I don't have too, by the way, that you won't know why you've got it either, aside from the fact that God created that and placed that in you. And so God created this and placed that in our soul, myself and Mary's soul, this unique thing of desire, burning desire for God first, more than anything else. That unique thing was a part of our soul. And because that was a part of our soul, we became the first person to experience the at-one-ment with God, and therefore the first person to be Christed, but not the only one. Yeah. So it's very important to not see it as a special person choice. The fact is that every single individual on the planet and in the spirit world has something unique in their soul that God wants. And God wants you to activate it. God wants you to follow your desires, and if you follow your desires passionately, you will eventually activate this unique thing that nobody else has. And you'll eventually realize, wow, this is something nobody else I've ever met has. And yes, you are right. Nobody else you ever met will have either. Right? And that is the unique thing that God wants you to activate within you. And coming to have a relationship with God is going to create that, going to make that happen for you. For me, it is this, and when I say me, for our soul, Mary and myself, it is this process of having a burning desire for God and wanting to be that messenger of truth and desiring to be the redemption of the world, if you like. That was this thing within our soul. And I can't even explain why it's there. All I know is that I just activated it and desired it passionately, and that's how it happened.
AJ, I'm trying to understand that you are the model for becoming at one with God in this lifetime for me. You're the model.
Right.
But I'm still confused because if you were an unconscious cell, you and Mary, and I was an unconscious cell before I was conceived, yet you told us that when you were born in the first century, you had all your injuries removed from you at birth, and it was predicted that you were the Messiah. So to me, you seem to have this huge advantage to me, yet you're trying to say that you're modelling to me how to become at one with God. I mean, I've always been confused about this.
And the truth is that I'm only telling you what other persons have told me. Like, my personal feelings are that I just went with my desire. When you're 1 or 2 years of age, you don't know whether you've been cleared from emotional injury or not, or any of those things. Do you know what I mean? You don't have that kind of conscious thought. So the truth is, for me right now, I don't know whether that's a definite thing that actually did occur. All I do know is that from the time I could remember, I just had this passionate desire for God. Does that make sense?
So, like you, when were the unconscious cell with Mary, were you
incarnated?
Yeah, before you incarnated, were you extra special then?
No.
Because
what I'm just saying is every one of us is extra special then. Every one of us has something unique in us.
But it was predicted that you would be the Messiah.
No.
So weren't you so special? I mean, for me, I can't understand how I can become at one with God when you were so special as the unconscious.
You've got to dispel all of this. It's very important.
Yeah.
No, I am not. I was not created. What was the thing you just said?
Special. Extra special.
I wasn't created as the Messiah.
Oh, you weren't?
No. The Messiah was something that was prophesied and predicted through a series of mediums, predicting it over many thousands of years. It was predicted in almost every holy writing on the planet. No, not just Christianity. It was predicted in the Hindu writings, in the Buddhist writings, in all of the different Eastern philosophies. The coming of the Messiah was predicted in every location. At some point, someone would be born, and I just happened at God's choice to be born where I was born, which was in Israel. And I just happened to be born there, and I was the one with that desire. Does that make sense?
Because this is a huge stumbling block.
It wasn't
for
like
me.
saying this person, Jesus, in the future, will be God knows everything, obviously, and God can.
Yeah. But you weren't picked as the unconscious cell.
No, I was created as Jesus, the unconscious soul. Just like you are created right now with this unconscious stuff inside of yourself that you're yet to activate, just like I was. And there's a unique thing that I was created with, and that was this ability to connect with God through lots and lots of injuries of everyone else.
But doesn't that mean you were a lot more special?
No more special
because
than you are.
It's just a stumbling block. Even when you become at one with God, I'll think, well, he was so special as the unconscious cell anyway, so he has got so much more.
How many times do I have to tell you I'm not special? I'm not special, right? There was just this unique part of my soul that was created. Just like you have a unique part in your soul that is created that you are yet to acknowledge within yourself and are yet to activate within yourself, right? And what happened was I did activate it. Does that make sense? That's the only difference between you and I. You're yet to realise.
So you activated God, the special abilities, which was to love God or to yearn for God.
God designed my soul uniquely, just as he designed your soul uniquely. God needs you in her universe as much as she needs me in her universe. When I say needs, obviously God doesn't need anything, but desires you as much as she desires me in the universe. And there is something unique in you that nobody else in the universe can supply.
Yeah. So it's possible that you didn't, if you didn't fulfill that yearning, that you would have not become Jesus and just be another blob.
Well, it's actually impossible for that to have occurred because God designed me for that purpose. Just like God's designed you for a purpose. Do you understand? you see what you're doing is you're comparing our purposes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't compare our purposes. I feel your purpose is just as important to God as my purpose is. Do you follow me? And sure, I've received a lot of notoriety in my life, and not always, when I was on earth, obviously a lot of opposition in my life, and then it was only glory later, perhaps. But even in all of that process, you still don't understand that actually you will do the same. You activate all of these qualities within yourself that actually God designed for you specifically to activate, just like I've had to activate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm sort of, like, it's been a huge thing for me because
Yeah.
I know you're modelling becoming at one.
It was impossible for me to not activate it because God designed me to activate it. Just like it's impossible for you to not activate this thing that's inside of you you're yet to recognise, because God designed you to activate that. If you follow your desires, you will eventually activate that. Does that
But
make
the
sense?
timing's up to me of it.
The timing and everything else is totally your free will, just like it was mine. So I could have chosen to not activate it now, or while I was on the earth in the first century, and I could have chosen to activate it like hundreds of years later when I was in the spirit world. But I would have sooner or later have activated it.
I see. Yeah.
Because I would eventually, if I follow my desire, got to the point where I have to activate it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah,
And your soul is designed exactly the same. You are unique and special in exactly the same way, and there's something that God wants in you that only you can supply to the rest of the universe in exactly the same manner that only I can supply to the rest of the universe. And when we start recognising this in each other, we will start valuing each other as equals rather than saying, oh, Jesus is better than me, and assuming that I'm saying that I'm better than you just because I'm saying I'm Jesus. The truth is that I'm not. I've just activated something that God designed in my own soul, and I'm so thankful God designed it in my soul, just like you will be thankful that God designed it in your soul when you activate your special uniqueness. And whatever that is going to add to the universe in a way that no other being in the universe can add to it, no other person. And the timing that I did it was 2,000 years ago. The timing that you do it might be 1,000 years' time. But it doesn't matter. In the end, if we follow our passions and desires, we will eventually activate that. But it will be based upon free will. It will be based upon your passion and desire. You don't have to activate it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank
God's
you.
designed this inside of you so that you can activate it, but it doesn't mean you have to. You can choose to ignore it. No, I don't want to know about that. No, that sounds too scary to me. You know, I could have in the first century gone, you know, I got to 5, 6, 7 years of age. My dad's always talking about the Messiah, and he says it was me, and all of these kind of things, and I've got all this love developing in myself, and I'm starting to go a bit freaked, right? Because he's talking about me being the Messiah. I don't feel I'm the Messiah, right? And so I had to go through a whole emotional process in the first century of coming to accept what God had intended, what God had designed within me. I had to go through this emotional process of accepting it. And when I did, I was about 22 in the end when I finished going through that process of accepting it. So it took many years from the time I was about 13 or 14 through to the age of 22 for me to emotionally cope with the fact that actually the person that I was waiting for, because I was waiting for the Messiah too. Does that make sense? I was waiting for the Messiah to come along and show me, because I'd worked out, I'd read all the scriptures and I read all the prophecies and I read and I worked out, hey, this Messiah isn't going to be a warlike leader. This Messiah is going to be a person who leads everyone back to God, that actually has the person who is the first person to open their heart to God. So I'm looking for him. Right? And I'm waiting for him to come along. I'm fair dinkum here. I spent a lot of my life in the first century waiting for him to come along. Waiting for him to, because I knew the law of attraction. I knew if I longed for him to come along enough, he'd come along. Right? And it took me many years to go through hang on a sec, what's going on? And I can say to you, very, very powerful emotional processes that I had to go through, which I had to go through again in this life. Very powerful emotional processes I had to go to actually, and I cried and cried and cried, not in tears of joy, in tears of sadness, but just in tears of wonderment and joy, and just cried in accepting it emotionally. That actually, oh, this person that I've been waiting for, that's me. Like, and then not only seeing that, but then seeing, oh no. You know what I mean? Like, that's me? You know, like that means that all these other things that I've been knowing would happen to the Messiah, that's going to happen to me? Right? That's going to, like, you know, I could see I was going to die. That was going to happen to me. You know, like I was going to, like all these things, like coming to terms with that emotionally, as you can imagine, was difficult. And so by the time I was in my 20s, I started to come to terms with that emotionally. And it took me from the time of 22 to saying, oh, that's me, to the time of 31 before I became at one with God. It took me that 8-year period, or 9-year period, of dealing with stuff, dealing with the whole enormity of it, before I became at one with God. Just to activate, just to stay in my desire for it. Because, you know, like, and this is what many of you have trouble with as well. Like, God has all these beautiful plans for you, right? And you don't have to go along with them. It's up to you. You don't have to go along with them, but God has them for you. And God's designed them in your soul. Like, you're the only person in the universe that can satisfy them, right? But often what we're doing is going, what? I'm the only person in the universe that can satisfy? No, I don't believe that. And so what do we do in the process? We just deny the gift that God has given us right from the beginning. And we turn all that off. You know, we shut all that down and we don't believe it, and we can't accept it. And we go through years and years and years and years and years of emotions, like trying to shut it all down and denying what God's created in us and so forth. Eventually, when you come to accept it, and you come to acknowledge, wow, God has created this unique thing inside of me, and all I need to do is live in my passion and desire, and I'll activate it more and more and more and more. And as I activate it, I will experience the personal benefits of what God designed me to be in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's why I was so touched when Mary was talking about desires at the workshop yesterday, on Friday.
Yep.
I just felt this emotion about it as a real truth helping me personally.
Yes. It's such an important issue. And all I did in the first century was this. All I did was felt this desire in me, and after a while I became conscious that actually this desire that was in me for this particular thing, no one else on the planet had ever had. Just like you are going to recognise at some point in your future that there's a specific desire in you that actually no one else in the universe has ever had.
So if I keep following each desire, you know, loving desire, that
Yep.
will take me towards
It'll
it.
take you there. And the beauty of going there is you then start understanding how loving God is to you specifically. That actually God just created you so unique. And God wants you in her life as that unique person. And not only that, God created you in this unique way that actually no other person in the universe is ever going to experience this unique thing without experiencing you. And isn't that wonderful, don't you think? How God has done that for you. Just no one else in the universe can ever experience this unless they spend time with you.
Thank you.